Hi guys, and welcome back to Total Oz Spurs. I'm here with Lee and Nene. How are we, boys?
Good, Bar. Good. How are you?
I'm
Good,
a lot
good.
better
What's
after
going on?
the game yesterday. What about you, Lee?
Yeah, nah, good. Yeah, pretty good. Happy about that, but yeah, let's get on with it, eh?
Oh, I mean, crazy scoreline. I didn't think we'd be hitting them points, but I did predict 4-0 though in my prediction, so I was half right. 4 goals difference.
Yeah.
Should have told
Well,
Scotty
Nene
this.
was the
Scotty
one
didn't
that
score
picked
two less.
4-2,
Was I?
and I think I put up. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
were
did.
4-2 because I said 3-1. You're like, oh, I'm gonna one up you.
Oh, I
So
got a one up
yeah,
here.
you
Yeah.
were. You were pretty close. Well, no, it
Yeah,
was
I
good,
got
boys.
Yeah, it was a high and low game for me. I was the only one that got up for it. Everyone was fucking sleeping, but no, it was hard not to contain the excitement after Sonny scored.
Yeah, we
I
seen.
just watched my reaction back just before, and fucking, I'm pretty sure if it
Yeah.
wasn't 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I would have fucking run down the street naked.
I almost thought you did for a second there when I was watching you.
Would have been perfect time for it.
Oh, honestly, I thought it was off.
So, let's get into it. So the starting squad was a bit of a change. Any surprises for you guys?
No, not really. I thought it was a good, decent squad, and I was sort of expecting Sonny to be on the bench, and then
Yeah,
but,
Perisic on that right was really like, ooh.
oh yeah,
But
that's some yeah.
we know what he can do with his he can do with both feet. Like we can know, and Cess is better than pretty much any of the right backs that we have at the moment. So obviously it's not a bad thing at all. But I was pretty shocked at it. I was shocked in the fact of like I didn't think Conte would come out and be like, "No, this is what we're doing." I thought Conte would kind of just stick with the same squad. I didn't think it'd be that big of a change because yeah, it's only the other side of the field. But if you're not used to that side of the field,
Yeah,
and
it's
there
a
was
big
some
change.
stat that he hasn't played right back for like 3 or 4 years, like
He
that's
didn't
pretty
play
crazy.
well. He played okay, but he was getting skinned. That's why we brought Royal on. We
Yeah,
ended up playing Seth at the right at one stage because he was getting skinned that much.
Yeah,
And that's nothing on Perisic. It's just they were focusing on the left side. Harvey Barnes is a really, really good player. I wouldn't mind him as a backup. Everyone might like what Harvey Barnes, but he's been consistent. He's strong. He's quick. He's played the Premier League since he broke through. But yeah, Perisic on the right was a bit sketchy for me. But I did read today, and I sent it in the group chat to you boys, that the reason why Doherty hasn't been playing is because he still isn't 100% from his
yeah,
injuries. So Conte
I
actually
didn't
came
know
out
that.
and said like he's 100, not 100%, but hopefully after the international break I can start bringing him in. So for me, it's a
yeah,
bit of a weird one as well because why put him on the bench if you're not going to play him?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like it's just like
but you know what? Like
Mora's
even
100%. So why he's still
yeah,
out, so he's not on the bench.
that's what I was just about to say. The same thing. Like you wouldn't pick Doherty, knowing that he's injured, still going, all right, put him on, and he might come on, but which he won't. We all know he won't come on. But it's just weird having him there, and I'm glad that Conte did come out and make that known. To be honest, because some of us as well, even some Spurs fans, would be going, well, where's Doherty? Like, well, why isn't he playing? No one said nothing. But it's good that he came out and said it, and hopefully after this international break, he does come back and get that rotation going because Emerson needs a bit of a break. I don't think he's up to our standards at the moment. Like, yeah, he's had a few good games, but I think Doherty brings a lot better like into the box as well. As what we need because we got boys bombing on, and someone like Doherty, we know what he can do. And yeah, Emerson just needs a bit of a rest, I think. But yeah, having Perisic on the right, like even I was a bit surprised, and I didn't believe it because I seen some of the other posts about Perisic being on the right, and I was like, oh, maybe not, but. Conte's trying to work things out differently and rotating it like that. In a sense, I can see why he did it, but as you said too, Jay, he was getting run over a fair bit, and that's why he did make the swap. But I didn't really mind it too much. But yeah, I wasn't too sure on it to be honest. But someone like Perisic, you really don't know what to expect. We know he's a good player. We know he's good with both feet. But yeah, it's just a weird one for me.
I'll have to do a big shout out to Lloris. He was been playing a bit sketchy, but if it wasn't for some of his saves, it's weird with Lloris. He can go on a run where he makes spectacular saves. Looks like one of the best goalkeepers still in the league, and then he just has these games where he looks absolutely dog shit. Like he's too old.
Yeah.
And I do want to give credit to him because if it wasn't for him, it could have been a higher scoring game. I don't think we would have lost still, but there was points there where he was saving it, where Maddison was popping off, and we'll get to Maddison a bit later because he was very dominant in that game, and it puts the question on why didn't we go for him. But the Reece kept us in it when we had a lot of pressure in that first half. Now, there's one player that we all sat here and said has been playing well. We didn't think he should be dropped when Romero came back, but Sanchez.
Yeah.
He gave the ball away, right? He gave the ball away, meant to make up for the mistake, got nutmegged, then went to make up for the mistake again, put in a tackle and pulled out last second, which caused a penalty.
Penalty, yeah.
So three errors in a space of 10, 15 seconds. No one's calling him fucking clean sheet fucking Sanchez anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think, boys? Like, do you think that's just a one-off from his previous games, or do you think that's just the level Sanchez is really at?
It's kind of hard to like. That was just a brain snap, really.
Yeah.
Like anywhere close to the box, shouldn't be diving when the defender's got your beat. Like that's a pretty big brain snap. Losing the ball like that, it was just. But so obviously the penalty was his fault, but I thought he was pretty decent other than that.
Yeah.
Like he didn't let anything else really through. The second goal, but like he had nothing to do with. It was just a fucking crazy goal by Maddison.
Yeah. You couldn't stop that.
You can't stop that. So was he the worst? Was he the best? Sorry, was probably not. But
none of the defenders are really.
Yeah, no one really popped off.
Dyer just played average. Lenglet was average. Sessegnon for most of the game were average. Obviously, Perisic still got an assist. Still think if him and Sonny are on, he has to take the dead balls. But
sure.
It's just with Sanchez, he seems like, for me, I feel like there's an accident waiting to happen. He's kind of like Serge. But then he had that game, like that 9-game run where he wasn't making any mistakes and he looked like he was a top defender. So it's kind of like,
exactly.
Do you reckon that's just a blip, or do you reckon that's just?
No, I reckon you hit it there. Like we were saying just before, as you just said, Jay, about how many minutes we played without conceding a goal while Sanchez has been on. You know what I mean? Like I just think it was just one of those moments where he just thought, fuck. He just bang. He done something stupid. He tried to rectify it, fucked himself over. Try to rectify it again. I don't think he, as Nene said, I don't think he was the best player, but I also don't think he was the worst. Like he still gave it some, but that was a silly mistake, and every player does it, but had to be Sanchez right in the box, And going back to this, as you said, second goal, I would blame Cess with that. To be honest, he just got he just got bodied pretty much. He got bodied he did, But what are you going to say, Nate?
So with the Sanchez thing, I lost it. That's what I was going to say. I'm happy that he does, he did it in a game where we still won, because it would have been shit for the mistake and a penalty if that should happen if the game wasn't on the line.
Yeah.
And it was pretty lucky that Son decided to finally start scoring some goals to get us over that line, but it could have been anything. But we're lucky that it happened in a game where it didn't actually really matter too much.
Yeah, true.
So hopefully, just that brain fade doesn't happen against the bigger teams where we actually need to be very wary of their attack. Like if he makes stupid decisions like that against City, they're going to bury that goal first time, and they're not going to get a second chance on a penalty like that.
No way.
That first half, if that was City, I think we would have been 4-0 down.
Yeah, we got demolished. We would have got demolished.
4-2, sorry. We would have scored the goal still. I don't think they're defensive-wise, I think we're still pretty good. We would have scored those two goals.
They scored, and pretty much we hit back 2 minutes later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, even though our first half still was pretty poor, to be honest, it was. We still come back bang, bang, you know, 1 for 1 pretty much. So I'm not too mad about it, but
he just can't be making those mistakes when we're versing the bigger teams.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like he has to just keep his head.
yeah, definitely.
And he got if that was any big team, if he does that in the NLD, we're gonna be calling for his head. And I think because of that, like because of that mistake, obviously he wasn't that solid, but he wasn't the worst either. Purely for that mistake will be the reason why he doesn't start the NLD.
Yeah, definitely.
I reckon if he didn't make that, he would have been going with Romero pretty closely. There could have been here or there, but I think Conte will just be like, we can't have anything like that happen in the big games.
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
when it is still very early in the season. They played 7 games, but every point's going to matter this season. So obviously the league's not won in now. Yeah, exactly. The league's not won in September or October, but if we can snag 3 points away at Arsenal, it's going to be fantastic. So
yeah, well, that's our next Prem game before the international break. But I want to move on to the midfield because we've been sitting on the defenders for a bit. Before we move on to the formation change, we'll go to how the boys went before. I think Bentancur would have got man of the match if Son didn't score 3. 100%. I was giving him a bit of a harsh time during the game because I felt like he wasn't doing enough or he wasn't passing properly. But then when I watched it back again, more so Bentancur, like he's a Rolls Royce of a midfielder. For me, he's the key part, and I'm going to say it. We need to play 3 in the middle because we played 100 times better with 3 in the middle, and unfortunately, I'm going to say it. Kulu gets moved to right wing back. I think we get rid of fucking Royal and we play Kulu at right wing back, and we play it like that. I know it's another left footer on the right, but if we're going to change into that formation, you have, I don't think you can sacrifice 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's hard to keep Kulu and Richie both on the bench right now.
I mean,
or
I know
Kulu and Son. Like it's hard to keep one of them. Like it's
but
so
then,
hard.
like for me, if the formation works and it means we dominate teams, they're just going to have to play a bit part.
100%. I totally agree in the formation change, and that's when Basuma came on. That's when we started. That's when it was like, okay, I'm going to start scoring goals now. So and I honestly think that was a big part of it because
he didn't score until Basuma came on. It was quite
exactly. So like, I feel like when there's a front 3, because Son and Kane are not used to having someone good on the right, I feel like they kind of are just getting bunched, and they're just staying together. Well, when it's just Son and Kane up front with the 3 behind
because they're so used to it.
Yeah, like they've always had someone that's not the best on the right hand side. Like who was it before Mora? Who was there before Mora? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it was Mora, Lamella.
like
you had Ericsson, but you had a different formation then.
Yeah, exactly. So even with like Mora, like he kind of stuck to his wing a lot, and he gave the boys like the whole space to play with. So I feel like they don't really know how to play with especially Kulu and Richie, who are very dominant players on the right hand side. They're all getting bunched up together. So when we pull one of them off and put a third in the midfield to help the midfield boys, I think it just makes more sense technically.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
We're having a bit of a mess. Oh shit!
Going back to Bentancur.
But just on Bentancur. He's honestly think he's probably been player of the season so far. I can't see anybody else that I'd give it to, maybe besides Richie. But
see, the hunger with him and Richie for me was I seen the other day was a lot. Like Bentancur was hungry, and to win that ball when he did, and even some of the plays he'd done and the runs he was making, like he was sort of running with the ball but making false runs and then giving it away and playing it on, which was good because the defenders and midfielders were going, what's he going to do? Where's he going to play to? And it was good that he was mixing it up. And to get that goal, good on him. Yeah, he needs it. It's his first for us, so good on him.
I was about to say that it was good because, Kane was open.
I thought he'd feed it. I thought he would.
I'm glad he didn't, to be honest.
I wouldn't have been mad if he did feed it, but I'm so glad
Yeah.
he had the confidence to just have that strike on goal.
Just take it, yeah.
Well, that's the thing I say. Like, Ndidi is a very good centre defensive, right? He doesn't lose the ball that often. He's very good at transitioning. He was like the Kante replacement. So it's kind of a thing I've been reading. Was it the fact that he fucked up, or was it because the pressure that Bentancur put on him made him
it's the pressure, I
cause a
reckon.
mistake? And I'm like, you watch it, and he beelines, and Diddy doesn't even know he's fucking there. By the time he knows he's there, he's got behind him, tipped
already
it,
got
and
the
He
ball.
goes to look over his shoulder, and the ball's gone.
Yeah, and the ball's gone. And then to take it on the way he did,
Yeah,
like you said, Lee, I'm so glad he did, because for me, like, that just
boosted him a bit more.
It wins points for him too, because fans go, shit, like, he's not scared to have a pop. Like, we have a midfielder to come in that actually has a decent shot, and that was a good shot. Like, where he was, and to go the angle that he did and bend it around the goalkeeper.
Because Ward was on that side as well. He was already favouring his left-hand side, so he had to kill it outside of him.
I mean, Leicester fucked up by getting rid of letting Smichael go and having Ward in the goal.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I seen a meme where it's like 40-0 to Man City and Haaland scores every like second minute because they're losing goal.
That's a massive drop down.
Højbjerg was decent too, but Bentancur has just been stealing the show lately. And when Basuma came in, it gave Bentancur and Højbjerg a lot more freedom to roam. And the thing is, Bentancur was brought on, I think, to shut down Maddison. Maddison was running the show before then. Yeah, but sorry, who did I say?
You said Bentancur.
Basuma got brought on purely to shut down Maddison, and once Maddison was shut down, and the thing is, the Suns' first and second or third goal, whichever one, I can't remember which one it was, Basuma started it by nicking the ball back and then feeding it forward to Bentancur and to Højbjerg, and that's plan B. Conte came out in his interview and said that's our plan B. If plan A is not going right, we can put another body into the midfield, narrow the front. But the thing is, we still have the wing backs to create that width. And and to me, that's more solid for me, because we're losing it in the midfield. Like when I was watching it and I was saying on the live stream, the first half where we lost it was the midfield, because against Lisbon. And against who else did we play? Before that, was it Fulham? Before that, no, it wasn't. But Marseille played before that. But with like Marseille and with Lisbon, all they were doing was turning our midfielders over, because it was only Bentancur and Højbjerg, and they were just. And what we were doing, we were transitioning from centre back to Kane straight away. We're trying to feed it straight to the forwards, because that's where everyone was pushing up. And because obviously Højbjerg and Bentancur dropped back to create a space for Kane to drop in, Son and Kulu to come in like inside forward sort of position, then the wing backs would bomb on. It meant that we had no midfield. So when you have it where Kane and Son are up front and they both work very well together, and as you saw, they're linked up again, and then you have the wing, and then you have that one less person that's bunched up top, and you have that extra person sitting in front of the defence. We can pass through teams a lot better, and we can defend better.
Absolutely.
And I think Conte is going to utilise that, and that's where he did say that he's got to transition Basuma into our system, where he's not just a defensive midfielder. He has to be that transition. But I think, that's what he's best at. He's top 3% in Europe, playing at Brighton last year for exactly that. Why not utilise it? And I think he's gone, shit, let's just try it, see how it goes against a game where we needed it, and it worked perfectly. And that's good against teams that are going to load a middle like Arsenal. They got Odegaard, they've got Xhaka, they're going to have Partey in the middle. They're going to pass through the middle. Man City, De Bruyne, Rodrigo? Rodri, sorry. They've got, they can play Bernardo Silva, Grealish, they're going to play through the middle and out wide. So that actually might be the formation that we end up switching to. It's just we're going to have to sacrifice either Kulu, obviously one of the top three, top four, but I'm going to have to sacrifice an extra person like Kulu and just play with Royal on the right, or you play Kulu in that wing-back role. Yeah, because I don't think he should be dropped. Kulu's been our best player this year. He hasn't scored as many goals.
100%. 100%.
I am a bit iffy at Kulu at right back. Right wing back. I'm not probably just because I've never seen him play there, so I'm not entirely sure what he's going to look like there. So I'm a bit iffy on it. I'd prefer to see, it's hard to say, like Royal or Doherty there, but I don't like having him on the field just for the sake of him being on the field.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
what I mean? like he doesn't play that position for a reason, because obviously his defensive is just so poor, and I can't remember a game where I've seen him like line up defensively.
Yeah.
So maybe his defending is that bad that it's just not worth having him there. So maybe it's worth just him sitting on a bench and coming on to change the game.
I think we'll still start with the same formation. I don't think it's.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, I think he's got 2 weeks to figure it out.
I think Plan A is always going to be.
This 2 weeks is going to be big.
I think Plan A is always going to be our normal formation, and then if it's not working and we're getting overrun in midfield, he'll do what he did early and he'll switch it early. Like I'm so glad he switched it early, and because he took Perisic off at 60th minute. Sonny was on at 60th minute, and then we transitioned to a back four, I think, and then we still had back five, but he took 2 off. Son and someone else came on. I think we'll transition into the 5-3-2 when it's needed. I don't think we're going to start with that. I think we'll still go with the 5-2-3, and then we'll transition into it and take one of the boys off if we need it. But the thing is, if you need more attacking, you need to overload the middle. If we a man down, you can always chuck Kulu into the middle.
But in saying that, we look so much better in Plan B. So when does Plan B become Plan A?
I think it's just the game.
Exactly. I was going to say the exact same thing.
I think
certain
teams,
ridiculously the bigger teams, the stronger teams, I reckon.
Because sometimes Plan A,
100%. It was so silky compared to normal.
Yeah, maybe Plan A isn't always gonna we might not always be up 1. We might be down by 4 by the time Plan B rolls around.
I think Plan A goes for the teams that we can counter. Where we just want to sit back, where we don't have to rely on Perisic and Royal pushing up. We're more relying on them to be defensive. And then we let Kane, Son, Kulu, Richarlison run the show like we did against Chelsea and like we have done last year against Man City when we beat them. And when we drew with Liverpool, we kind of let the top boys rule it and everyone, the 7 behind the board and then the 3 up front work it out.
Keep tight,
But I think this B formation is good for teams that are going to try and come at us like a Leicester, where they're going to overload the midfield because they know we've only got 2 in, and that's where Conte can go, all right, well, we're going to stick 3 in there, and we're just going to let our wing backs. I don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to stay with A because I think you don't know if they're going to overload the midfield until you start playing. I think B will be the backup option if we're getting overloaded, and he'll do it early like he did yesterday.
I would like to words are hard. I'd like to see the B formation, so the 5-3-2. I feel like that would be better against the bigger teams straight up, and then it'd be worse.
Put the pressure on straight away.
Yeah, to put the pressure on and control the midfield a bit more. And then if we are down a goal or 2, then wouldn't it make more sense technically to put the 3 up front and just try and go hell for leather?
Logic say
yeah.
That I mean, me as a fucking person that watches and big games like that, this makes more sense to have more attackers when we're losing the game, right?
I think it's hard because in saying that the better teams are better defensively too. So it's Chelsea came out with matching us practically 5-2-5. I think they went a 5-3-2. I think against us, and they nearly beat us. They should have. Well, we shouldn't have won that. They should have won it. We shouldn't have drew with them. But it's hard. I think it's just depending on the team that are playing and Conte will see earlier. Like if we go against Man City and he's like shit. Like I think he's going to play the Plan A because he's like we've got to stop Haaland. We've got to make sure that the defense has
shut him down,
and we're going to keep our wing backs back. That's what I think he'll do because he'll trust Kane, Son, and whoever's up front with him. Because Son, after that, Son's not coming off. Son's staying in the team now. He's going to go on a run.
And he's in that zone now. Yeah.
If I was asking, I'd be shitting myself because he's like,
he's going to go rogue. Yeah, he's going to go rogue.
Fuck you up. We'll get to Sonny a bit later because I think there's a little bit of a talk on that. But I think we'll have to wait and see. But I'm glad we've got a plan B because under Poch never had a plan B. Under Mourinho never had a plan B. Nuno.
We'll call it for one last week.
Nuno didn't really have any plans.
And it's nice to see that it was actually Delane called it. Delane said that we probably need a 3 in the middle to control the midfield. he said it, and I can't remember the last time he was on, but he said it last time he was on, and he got it right. Like we just looked 100 times better. And then we go
to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was just Madison was running the game, and he's someone that we should support. He literally ran that game.
Such a good player in a terrible club right now.
Yeah. Oh, the thing is, they got such good players.
Oh, definitely.
A few of them have won the fucking like when Vardy came on. I thought this ain't Vardy. This is his cousin fucking Vardy. Like he did not look
Vardy
like
from Wish or something.
Yeah, he looked like that fucking guy. It looks like Vardy.
Yeah.
The guy that was walking around taking photos is Vardy, and it wasn't him. But when with Sonny coming on and looking real good, Richarlison didn't look good at all, boys. I'm going to be honest. People were saying that he's better than Son, and I think that debate shouldn't have even started, because as much as I said that Sonny should be rested, and I'm glad he was rested, because this is exactly what I said would happen. Not saying I predicted it, but I honestly thought this would happen, that he'd come off, he'd have the shits, and he'd go, fuck it. When I come on, I'm burying that. I don't give a shit what I've got to do. Even though I would have liked that attitude
he must have prayed to those gods.
Started, Richarlison looked really poor and couldn't do anything. Now, is it the system? Partly. I think the system stifled him a bit. I think Leicester countered really well, and we didn't really have good ball transition.
Yeah.
But I also think Richarlison was fairly poor. And
he wasn't on top of his game.
And with Tottenham fans, he ain't going to be able to last on those two headers against Marseille last week. 10-man Marseille. Like, he's going to have to start banging goals. He can look good. The difference is Kane. Everyone's saying Kane's off form, but he scored 5 goals in 6 games or 7 games.
That's a rough one.
So, like,
that's probably the thing with Richie, though. Like, we've seen him play so well. Yeah, but that's probably the thing as well. Like, we've seen Richie come in, bang, and he's played well. It's already started the season. Don't get me wrong. He's had one off game, and I thought it was a very off game compared to Richarlison we've seen, but you're right to the whole debate in Richie. Like, that should never have started. Form is temporary, but class is permanent. We've all seen it, all the headlines and that. Which I don't think Richie is nowhere near as good as Son, but Son hasn't been himself up until the other day when he's come on and he's pocketed 3 goals.
Well, I was reading stats where his X goals and his shots on target and his shots in the box actually above what he was last season, where he won a golden boot. It's not going in for him. So it just looks like it was super, super unlucky that hasn't been scoring the goals that he has been.
Yeah, you know what happened?
Maybe Pogba's brother's done the old witch doctor to Sonny.
No. Salah got the shit and went home to Egypt and fucking prayed to his Tutankhamun and said,
the pharaohs,
like a mummy returns, like, put a curse, and Son broke it. Prayed to his gods and went, fuck it.
Just talking about Richie for a sec. I'm going back through a couple of Everton's games last year because I'm not the biggest fan of watching shit teams. It looks like he was the main man up front. I think he might be struggling with that a little bit this year, because it looks like a lot of the games that he did play, he was like the main guy.
Yeah, he was a big fish in a small pond at Everton.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
Everton are a massive club.
Exactly. So I feel like maybe even now he's like, fuck, I can't, like, especially was it against Lisbon that he got like 4 offsides?
No, it was
was the game
Ham,
before
wasn't
that. No. It was recently. I'm pretty sure. I
think you were right.
I'm pretty sure it was
Lisbon. He didn't get 4 offsides against Lisbon.
Well, it's either that or
because Son scored a couple and was offside.
Marseille.
I think it was maybe Marseille.
Anyways, in that game that he was, I think it was Marseille. The game where he was like offside and shit. Like, I feel like he was just like, I have to do everything. I have to run this
eager.
Team. He's eager, but like his ego as well. He's got to realize that this is just a system. You have good players around you now. You're not the main guy.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
You just got to play your role.
Having the
now.
likes of Harry Kane and Son around him in Everton.
Exactly.
What I mean? He hasn't had that stature of player.
Like, he's had fucking Fabian Delph behind him, for fuck's sake. Like, he's not used to having.
Yeah, Alex Iwobi.
Yeah, Iwobi and fucking
Theo Walcott, Arsenal rejects.
So like, I feel like Not saying that he's been bad at all. I think he's been a fucking great addition for us. But this game
hell yeah.
especially, I feel like he was just off the pace.
What
And
I think's happened is he was overrated. People were hyping him up more than what they should have prior to this game. And I'm not dissing him. I think he's been really good. I think he showed a lot of hunger, a lot of energy. I feel like he has looked like he's changed the way the game's because he's that extra threat. He's that extra body running in. He's making defenders think. But you're right. Like he also has to realize, like, if you're not clinical in this system, you're not going to be starting because Kulu has been benched 3 games in a row and he's looked better than Richarlison every time he comes on.
100%.
Fair enough. He's actually looked better than the front 3. He's looked better than that. He's been our best forward this year, even though he's only got 1 goal. He's just looked the most dangerous. Doesn't mean he's, And the thing is, Kane. The good thing is Kane's not on form and he's scoring goals, and that's unheard of. Usually, when Kane's not on form, he really struggles.
Yeah.
But he's still scoring. And I must say, Kulu with that cross to the back post for Kane for the first goal.
That was fantastic.
That was sexy.
Yeah. 100%.
That was. I think our short corners are better than our long corners because that's the second time now. Because we did it against Marseille, where was it who crossed it in? Was it Son put it into the back post? And it was where Son put
Richie
it.
Scored.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Son put it back post and Richie scored against Marseille. But that's where he came short. Kula gave it to him, rolled it out, then he pinged it in from a different angle with a lot more pace because he doesn't have to try and curl it in or try and get it past the first man. He could ping it in and it generate a lot more power. And all they've got to do is touch it on, just like Dyer did today, where they crossed it.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing? How fucking weird is it to be scoring from set pieces? I feel like since Eriksen left, we don't score from set pieces.
Well, we weren't scoring with him either.
Yeah.
Including free kicks.
Well, even then, when he's free kicking, he couldn't even do it.
But it just feels weird to be able to, because every time the last couple of years has been a corner, I've been like, okay, cool. How are they going to clear this ball? It's weird to actually go to corners and actually be like, oh shit, we actually might score here.
Yeah, definitely.
It's our set piece guy that Conte brought in.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think it was he brought him into Juventus, and their XG and their actual goals from set pieces increased like double, but they also conceded a bit more as well than the previous season. But the goals they got compared to the goals they conceded was significant. They scored a lot more goals. And the thing is, we've already scored like 4 or 5 from set pieces, and that's probably more than what we scored last year from set pieces. We were
100%. I totally agree.
But now we're going to transition to the man of the hour, Sonny.
Addison.
How good is it to see Son scoring again? Son smiling, and it was significant. Because when he scored that first goal, he stood there for a second.
You see how much it meant to him.
Yeah, and the crowd was going off their tits. And I think I think he's been struggling. People have been saying, "Oh, drop him," and I think he's taken it personally. And the thing is, I think a lot of people have been saying, not drop him because he's not playing well. He's tired. He needs that rest, and it's not because we don't think he wants to score. It's just he was just off. And sometimes you managers do it where they'll try and let someone work. Like Poch did it with Kane a lot, where especially when he got injured and try to bring him back, you try and let him work into form. And sometimes you're waiting 8-9 games for that. Son's the same. He's had those patches, but then like all it takes is to get dropped once, and he's like, I don't want to be dropped again.
Hell no.
And people might go, oh, what happened? Super sub? No, Son needed that pressure off his shoulders to score, and then when he got the opportunity, he just took it. And that first goal, the way he just bent that, and I sat there and I was like, he's gonna bang this. I can see it, and you see my reaction, and I lost it. And then the second goal was even better, on his left foot.
Yeah.
Filth. Yeah.
So I think it's great for us that he's done that because
100%. It's just it's so good to see.
Now.
It's so good to see Sonny on the score sheet. Like we've been saying it all year. He
looks so confident too, eh?
Yeah, he needed to be dropped in the sense of like he's got the talent. It's just his form was a little bit off, but we all knew it was coming. If it wasn't this week, it was next week. If it wasn't next week, it was the week after. It was definitely coming.
Yeah,
it's not like he's fallen off the face of the earth. It was just so good to see.
But you see how funny it is, though, eh? Like he's been playing so bad, but then comes on as a sub, bangs it with both feet with so much confidence, and he was looking where he wanted it, and just to see him stand there and soak it all up, it's like, I'm back, boys. I might not be back into full swing, but there you go. That's what you wanted. You've got it.
But I would have been happy with him scoring 1 goal, but the fact that he scored 3, it's just
what got me is the fact that I always said that he needs to get his confidence back because he's a confidence player. When Son's on it, I don't think there's any better winger in the world. I'm going to say it. People might sit there and go, Neymar, Mbappe. Yeah, you know what? Like Mbappe is fair enough, but like Son's one of the best in the world in his position when he's on it. And for me, it was instead of trying to force him to get that form whilst playing a full game, bring him on with team to tide. As long as he gets that goal, it doesn't matter how he gets it. All he needs is that one goal to ignite.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And we didn't get that until we transitioned. He moved further in the pitch and we controlled the ball more. And the thing is, Leicester were throwing everything up and we were catching them because we're catching Maddison because they were pushing the midfielder. And that's so we could transition faster. And then Kane was next to him. So he knew, I can 1-2 with Kane. I can go outside the cess. Roy was on the right. And like, all he needed was that goal. It didn't matter how it came. It didn't matter if it was like, that's why I said when we got that penalty and Kane missed it. Who was it against?
Should have given it to Son.
When it was fucking Dean Henderson against, was it Nottingham?
Yeah.
And I was like, should have given it to Son because that would have ignited.
Yeah, it was one of our first couple of games. Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly thought they should have given it to Son just to give him that, he's a goal. Like I said, I used the example.
Yeah, we both said that.
Ramos did it for Morata at Real when Morata didn't score, or was it Benzema for ages? And then Ramos is the penalty kick taker, and he went, no, someone else was, and he goes, no, give me the ball, Morata, you take it, you score, get your first goal back, get that confidence in you. And that's what I think Sonny needed, and what a way to ignite his first goal. And the thing is, until Arsenal played this morning, he'd already scored as many goals as Jesus did.
Yeah.
And he hasn't scored in 6 games.
As many goals as West Ham.
I mean, they scored one against us.
Yeah.
They're shit. They lost this morning against Everton too. They're fucking horrible.
You know what? Going back on Sonny's goal, the third goal, Højbjerg from midfield, that was a silky run. I quite enjoyed Højbjerg, seeing Højbjerg doing that because I'm so used to seeing him going back or sideways, but running it like that was filth. And to be honest, I wasn't too sure if someone's going to get it. If that was his first goal attempt, I would have been like, I don't think he's going to get it because it was his third. And I thought, look, he's on form now. He's found the back of the net. He's going to do it again. And watching it go, I'm like, yeah, he's definitely going to score this. But yeah, I've got to give props to Højbjerg for that run.
I agree with what you said there. If that was his first shot, I reckon Ward saved that.
Yeah.
I reckon he was just on that run where everything gets stopped. But the fact that he'd already put 2 past him, he just started.
Yeah, that was it.
Ward did really poor for that third goal too. He got a hand to it, but
I thought he would have saved that, to be honest.
100%. I just rewatched it just then. I thought he did pretty badly for the third goal as well. He jumped for the first goal. Sorry, he jumped across the ball and it went inside him.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that happen as a keeper? Like, what the fuck happened there?
Could have been the curl. It could have just been the trajectory. It could have, because Son does the curler, like the one against Arsenal a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
On the break, and he just fucking banged it and curled it in. Bad boy goal. I think you're right. That third goal, if that was Son last week, that was hitting the goalkeeper and ricocheting out. Just like when he smashed it against the crossbar and it was just under and it bounced in front of the goal. But it's good to see Sonny on there. And I think people, the criticism that we had or that we've shown of Son isn't about his talent or how good he is. It's just about the fact that we've been reiterating it the whole time here that we felt like he just needed that little break. It wasn't get dropped because you shit. It was get dropped.
No, definitely.
Sit on the bench.
No, it was just
come on against weaker teams when they're tired and get that goal. just to get that goal, get it out of your head, and then you can kick on. Just like Kane when he couldn't score in August, and then he'd wait, and then get that goal, and then he'd kick on. It's the same thing with Son. That's all he needs, which is a kick on. And I'd be scared if I was Arsenal, because if he holds that ruthlessness that he had today, he's going to tear him apart, because Ben White plays on the right for him, and he's been playing well. But he's going to skin him alive. The last time Sonny played against like Holding or Ben White, that caliber of player, they got a red card.
Holding wasn't holding anything. You know, Holding was not even there. He was holding his little wiener and standing there watching the sun fly by him. You know. Anyway, boys, on that note, I've got to love yous and leave yous. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure talking, about a team we love to you boys.
Have fun, brah.
And I'll be catching yous on the next chat.
Yeah, catch you, bro.
See you, bro.
All right, boys. Thanks, boys.
Sad dog. But I can't remember who came on. Who came on? Royal came on. I think he shored up the fence a little bit. Don't think he really did that much.
Nah, really.
He did well to shore up the defense and to keep the shape. But I think the major changes was the Basuma and the Sonny change. I think that really changed the game, especially the Basuma one.
They came on together, didn't they? If I remember.
No, Sonny came on the 60th minute. Basuma came on a little bit later. I think he came on like 65th to 70th minute.
So he came off on the 70th minute. Yeah. Son came on at 59th. So Son, that's it. Son and Romero came on together.
Yeah. What do you think about Romero being dropped?
We were kind of calling for it. We were not calling for it, but we were talking about it last week. If he was playing, like we said, it looked like he was missing a step, right? Looked like he was a bit afraid to go down. Didn't want to do everything. So it felt like he was kind of missing it. I'm kind of happy that he did get dropped back to the bench. I'm also happy that he did come on.
Sanchez wasn't the best, but
no,
I mean, it's one of those games. I think it was a weird change. It was something I didn't expect. We did call it, but I didn't expect it. I didn't expect Perisic to play on the right.
No.
But I'm hoping with the comments that he's made about Doherty, I think Spence is just. I think he's proven. He's just trying to prove a point. I think the whole Spence situation is Conte going, that's the guy you wanted to buy. I wanted to get someone else and sell one of these boys, but you didn't. So I'm going to keep playing these boys, and your boy's going to sit and rot in the. Luckily, he's young and he's not a superstar. And Spence, I feel like he may be able to come in once Conte proves his point and gets what he wants. Because for Conte, for me, he wants another Perisic on that right. He wants to get rid of Cessa. He wants to get rid of Royal and get rid of Doherty. And I think what he'll do is he'll get someone that's like a Perisic, a bit younger than Perisic, but a Perisic type player. And then he will encourage Spence to be the backup. I feel like that's what he wants to do. But at this point in time, he's like, well, if you're going to fuck me, I'm going to play games.
Well, in saying that, why wouldn't he just start him then? Be like, this is the shit you gave me, and it doesn't seem like they're working.
Because I think it's more of he knows that Spence has something, and it sounds really weird, and me saying he's inhibiting the team to prove a point, but I think he's trying to say, like, I'm trying to prove a point here. It is what it is. Like, if it means that you're... And the thing is, the reason why Royal's still playing is because we're winning, so we can't really change formula if we're winning. I think if we're losing, he would sit there and go, fuck, we need to use Spence, and he'd probably suck it up. Yeah. But it's good news about Doherty, about saying that he might be coming back, because he was one of our best players at the end of last year.
Towards the end of last year, I thought he was pretty high up there with our best.
Yeah, and I think if he's at full pace, we probably will rely on him a lot more, and it'll be good because we can play him when we're winning, when we're in an ascendancy, and we want attacking. And then we can play Royal. We can bring Royal on to shore up the defense and just be defensive and not have to rely on him trying to service the front three
100%.
or two.
I didn't think Doherty was that bad defensively.
He's not. It's just he's a lot like. I think Royal's just a little bit better, but then I don't know. I think Royal might just be the same level. He isn't an outstanding defender like James is or. Like Cancelo is or Walker is. Walker obviously uses his pace, but he's gotten a lot better since he went to Man City defensively. He's one of the best right backs in the country. If not top five. He's top five in the top in Europe at least, I think anyway. he still is he's starting right back for Pep. He keeps Cancelo on the left. That's how good he is. So,
Yeah.
but apart from that, like, yeah, I think Doherty plays. I think Royal, he's just playing Royal as this is your player. You didn't want to get rid of him. You didn't push him out. You didn't get the player that I wanted. So we're just gonna do what we've got to do.
I totally agree.
But I think we'll start wrapping it up. There's not much else to go on really about the game. Is there anything else you want to bring up?
We've touched on it plenty of times, but I just want to say how good of a player Maddison is.
Yeah.
I imagine if we got him.
I think we genuinely wanted him, but I just don't think that. I think Conte didn't want to risk it purely. I don't know. If you'd be stupid as a manager fighting for top 4 not to want Maddison in your team, he
100%.
can play that centre mid because he wasn't playing as a cam. He was playing as a centre mid, box to box. He was transitioning, and I feel like he can play that role. If we're going to play 3 in the middle, you take off, I'd probably say Højbjerg.
Yeah,
and then have Bentancur as the feed between Basuma.
Yeah.
And Maddison, but then you're the way we only play with 2 midfielders, and I think Conte wants a more defensive.
Yeah,
to counter the
totally
5 up top.
But in saying that, when the game's on the line, that we need someone to pull a rabbit out of their hat, why can't he be our Eriksen?
Yeah,
why can't he be that guy that just drills it from 30 yards and it goes in? Like I could see him doing it, and in a better team, I just think he's going to shine more.
I just don't know how I don't know how. I know you said you got Eriksen on a free, but if I was Arsenal, I would have got Maddison over Odegaard. If 100%. I was Chelsea, I would have tried to bring him in. Like, he's just such a good transition. If I was even West Ham, I'd get rid of is it Buendia they got, or is it?
Yeah, I feel like West Ham's a step back though for him. I'd rather stay at Leicester than West Ham.
Well, last year they weren't. This year, yeah, they are. They're playing terrible at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Maddison would have been the man of the match if Son didn't bang him through, even with the 3rd goal.
Yeah. The only thing that would something the big teams would buy him is his price tag. He'd be ridiculously priced.
Yeah,
I think they were putting like 75 to 80 mil on him. I think if it was from Spain or from another country, he wouldn't have nearly as high as a price tag. It's just the homegrown thing.
You know what shit though? I looked at Leicester's team and I thought that midfield is a midfield that I wouldn't hate. They got Ndidi, who I really highly rated. They have Tielemans, and they got Maddison. I just think they lost a lot in Schmeichel, and they just defensively they're not good. Like, they're playing that Castagna. He did some really good balls, but he can't defend. Like, he was getting ripped by Cess. Cess was getting around him, which is very surprising that Cess. Usually Cess is very quiet. I don't even know who the centre back that faced that David Luiz wannabe guy. He's good at playing the ball, but he was suspect for, like, he should have closed down Son when Son scored twice. He should have closed down both his outside of the box shots. And then Johnny Evans is fucking like 38, so he's like old as fuck. Speed. And then you've got Danny Ward in goal, who's no Schmeichel. So it's kind of like I feel like their defense is letting them down. Plus their rotation, they haven't got really, and like they're not starting Vardy anymore. They're playing Barnes. I don't know who's the other striker. They're not even playing
Iheanacho.
He's on the bench. He came off. He came on.
Yeah.
He wasn't even starting.
They're not playing Perez either.
Yeah, it's like they're playing some new guys, and I just thought that, like, I would have been more scared if it was Vardy.
100%.
I just know what he can do.
Especially on the counter. But like you were saying before, like Harvey Barnes, Drewsbury Hall, Tielemans, Maddison, and Ndidi, I wouldn't be mad at any of those players in our team. Like,
as backups, apart from
as backups. Obviously, I don't think any of them start, besides probably Maddison. But then you have their back four, and I just go, that's a bottom 5 back four.
Yeah, it's not a good back
especially
four.
With
Danny
Ward in goal.
Yeah.
Like
the only good player there was Face.
It looks like from their games that I've seen so far, they can score half decently, but they can't defend.
Yes, their defense.
They scored 2 against us. They scored 2 against Arsenal.
Well,
they can obviously score against the big teams. They just can't defend against the big teams.
See, James Justin is also a right back playing left back as well. He didn't do too bad. He was bombing on against Perisic. He was ripping Perisic because he had on the left hand side they had Harvey Barnes and James Justin, and they're both pretty quick and strong. So that's where Perisic was getting ripped because he had such pace and he couldn't cope with the pace because he isn't that quick. But like James Justin should be on the right. They should have a left back. They had Cahill before they sold him to Chelsea. That's a couple of years ago, but they haven't really replaced a left back. They're playing James Justin as left back. And their centre backs, like, they had Maguire at one stage. I think it was Wes Morgan. But, like, they haven't really had any decent centre backs. They need to get a whole new back four or back three with James Justin moved to the right and then a better goalkeeper. And then they'll be top 8. Their team's good enough. They got good enough. Their midfields, I'd say it's better than – I wouldn't say better than ours because we play a different system, but if we were to play a midfield 3 against their midfield 3, Maddison and Tielemans are better than Bentancur and Højbjerg offensively. Defensively, they're not. But offensively, if we're going offense, they are. And I just think Basuma is better than Ndidi now purely because Basuma's been the best defensive midfielder, and that's the role that he will play. And Ndidi is getting his aging now. But yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing for Leicester. It's really hard to see him, and it's shit to see him the way they are. But they haven't got no investment. They've had no investment. I think they've paid a net of $3 million in the last 4 or 5 seasons. I think I saw. So they haven't invested in their squad since they won the Premier League. Ever since the owner died, and I know they invested a lot into the club, but I think they're trying to get the rewards back now. But Leicester just can't compete because teams are just getting better and better.
100%.
So,
couple more things I do want to bring up. Won't take too long. Our 17 points is the joint best record for us at this stage of the campaign. Level with 2016-2017 when we finished runners up to Antonio Conte's Chelsea.
I remember that season too.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal are looking good at the moment, but they haven't played anyone apart from United in the top 10,
and they lost.
Yeah. October's going to be hard for them.
Of the Premier League fixtures that have played 30 games, this is the highest. This game is the highest average goals per game at 3.73. 123 goals in 33 games. So it's always a fucking. If you're a betting man, bet the overs for that. It's always going to be over 2.3 goals.
Kane scored 18 goals against Leicester alone, hasn't he? That's insane.
Yeah.
That's the highest goal scorer against any club in history, I'm pretty sure, or Premier League history, I should say.
It's insane. He's got someone at Leicester when he was on loan. They must have pissed him right off.
Yeah, they must have.
He still remembers what they done said.
Well, he was on the bench when they were in the Championship and they made it to the Prem, and he was on the bench next to Vardy.
Yeah, I know.
There's a photo of him and Vardy together. So, yeah, you're right. Someone must have whispered in his ear, go back to Tottenham, you fucking shit. You're never going to make it.
He was like, okay.
All right, because I'm not going to say anything, but every time I play you, I'm going to think of you.
I'm going to fucking destroy you.
Yeah, it looks like Waterboy. Fucking H2O. Just thinks of all of them as the fucking H2O and destroys them. But
100%.
Yeah, so we won't be doing any watch-alongs for a couple of weeks. I think our next one's going to be the big one, the big NLD. That's going to be I think that's going to be a massive test for us. I think that's going to be 100%. Where we see if we've improved under Conte. And the good thing is a lot of the players that need to improve are not going to international duty. Players that need Royal is not going. I don't know if the South Americans are going, but Skip's not going.
I know Richie's gone.
Yeah, Basuma's not going. Cooley will go for Sweden, but the fringe players are going to have 2 solid weeks of probably getting smashed by Conte just to try and get them up to speed. And the good thing is if that happens and we do get a couple of knocks, it's not a bad thing. It's just it's going to be a big one, and I think it's going to be to me, it defines if Arsenal are actually top 4 contenders. They're not going to be title contenders. It's going to be City. There's no way they're going to keep this run on. As soon as they start playing Chelsea, us, City, United.
Well, they got us and Chelsea back to back, don't they?
And then Liverpool. They play us, Liverpool, and Chelsea in October. They've got 8 to 9 games in October alone. That's including Europa League stuff. and their squad's light. They've just got Partey back, but like their squads, if they get a couple of injuries, like even if they get an injury to Saliba, they're fucked. Saliba's a really good defender. He's been their best player so far this season. But
100%.
I think it's a massive game, and the good thing is his son's broken his little curse. So I'm hoping the floodgates open for him. Kane always seems to pull it out against Arsenal, and I'm hoping to see, Skip or to come on as a Tottenham boy.
Because we always do, like our Tottenham boys and Lamella, who's pretty much a Tottenham boy.
Yeah.
They always play their dicks off against Arsenal. It means more to everybody. But like it means a lot to everybody. But it just the homegrown boys just take it to another level, I feel.
Yeah.
And Lamella.
It's the thing is it's away, so it's kind of like the trend that it's happened the last couple of years has been we win at home, they win at home.
Yeah.
So I really want to go there, and even if we draw, I think to go there and draw, especially with they're undefeated. Well, they're not undefeated, but they've won 6 out of 7 games, and they didn't look that good against United. And I feel like we have the system and we have the players to match them. I feel like, that 3-5-2. 5-3-2 is going to be the system that I think we will implement and beat them with. But we'll get into a proper preview for that before the game. Obviously, we've got a couple of weeks off. We're not going to cover any internationals because they're friendlies. It's not really worth it. Probably going to take a couple of weeks off, and we're going to have a big comeback for the North London derby. We're going to be streaming some FIFA 23 the day it drops. Going to have the boys around. We're going to do a proper live watch along where we're all together with a couple of add-ons. Probably a United fan, one of our mates who we play FIFA with. So we'll have that. We'll do an in-house tournament. See who's the best out of the Tato Spurs boys. You'll meet you in the final car.
We all know the final's going to be us.
Yeah. And then we're going to do just before the actual live watch along for the Arsenal game. So you're probably going to see us be a bit more rowdy, a bit more how you going, because we're live, we get hyped up, we like to G each other up, and everyone gets G'd up for the North London derby.
It's a big one. It's the biggest of the year.
We may be coming out with a bit of content within the next 2 weeks. Not too sure. Can't promise anything. It's more of a, starting out as a channel. We don't want to overload, and we also all work still full time, so it's a bit hard even now to get us all together, as you can see. So we'll get that for you. We'll make sure we're putting up some posts. Make sure you're smashing the likes and subscribing to the YouTube channel, hitting that bell so you can get the notifications. Hit up a link tree to hit our Twitch up. We've got Twitter, we've got a Facebook group, we've got Instagram. Hit us up on all of those. We'll be making sure we keep active on those. And cheers to the boys, to Nana and Lee for coming on tonight. Appreciate it. The other boys were coming on, but due to cause when one's becoming a parent and one is a parent. So it is what it is. But appreciate everyone that's watched, and we're going to call it here. So Nana, I'll catch you later, brother. And
no worries.
As we say it here at Tato Spurs, stay Spursy.
Stay Spurs there.